The alcoholic mind, right? Yeah. It also Bill always likes to repeat himself.
Yeah.
Always. And I got on page 101. He says, we meet these conditions every day. An alcoholic who cannot meet them still has an alcoholic mind. There's something the matter with his spiritual status. His only chance of sobriety would be someplace like the Greenland ice cap. And even there, an Eskimo might turn up with a bottle of scotch and ruin everything.
So she's talking about a different Eskimo because her Eskimo didn't bring her a bottle of scotch.
So where's the Eskimo reference?
Well, there's a few different
What did you mean by that?
Eskimos are somebody that introduces you to the program.
Okay.
Your AA Eskimo is somebody who brought you into the program.
Oh,
I never heard that before. Yeah. Well, I came through the rehab. So what introduced me to AA was Chris Lytle going, you will be going and I will walk you down the hill.
Right.
Oh, dude. Maynard's was amazing.
Chris saved my life too.
Yeah. I mean, Maynard's was, and I have such a deep attraction to those people up there. Yeah. Sean Monaco, she's going to be on here on October 5th. I can't wait for her. She's got a hell of a story. Anyways. So yeah, that's it. But they are AA through and through and very godly.
Yeah.
Very godly. Right. So it's fun. So,
Father God, thank you. Thank you for this incredible time to fellowship and to talk about freedom, Lord, that is simply from you and the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the steps in the program that you've sent us, Father God. We are so grateful to have gotten one more day of sobriety. Lord, we just ask that whatever it is that you want us to share, whatever it is that you have already planned, who's going to hear this, who is going to be helped by this, Father. So I just ask for your words. I ask for, a message from all of us, whatever questions need to be asked, whatever things need to be brought up, Father God, that we do this to help your children that are here and to glorify you always. And we just ask for your prayers for the Kirk family also, Lord, as we're thinking about them today and all of the people that are affected by that man. God, we thank you for your word. We know that you are faithful. We know that you go and you sit at the table of our enemies and that you have already handled this, Lord. And we just ask for love and tolerance and forgiveness today, Lord, and that you would just, that your light and love would just reflect and that people would see us and just know there's something different about us because of your love and the Son that you sent to die for us, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's go to work. A little bit easier on the ears, isn't it?
Yeah.
No? What about this? You sit on the toilet, don't you?
Not my wife, not your wife, nor anybody listening to this podcast has eaten a shit sandwich. We didn't have a hand in it.
What is the shit sandwich?
You sit on the toilet, don't you?
Well, none of us. Not you. Certainly not Mary or Larry and I has eaten a shit sandwich we didn't have a hand in making.
Yeah.
Then the
true fact.
Yeah, that's what the steps are.
True fact.
Got it.
Do you keep slicing the bread? Do you keep spreading the shit? Which part do you keep doing?
Yeah.
Recognize it. Ask God for help in that area, and you won't eat any of it.
Ugh. Okay.
Right? Well, that's
both of those came up. That was a lead in.
What was the one? You not your wife, not my wife.
I was eating a shit sandwich.
Eating shit. Oh, you're talking about this one. Wait. Oh wait. We got to talking about meditation on here one time.
Use that as your meditation.
It drives me nuts when people say, sorry, that background's still playing. Yeah. It drives me nuts when people say, well, I don't ever have time for meditation. You realize what meditation means? It just means to stop, pause for a moment. You sit on the shitter, right?
Right.
That's a pause.
Right.
Take that time. Use that time, right? And that's what that is.
That's good.
Use that time to get close to God.
Hold on.
Sit on the toilet, don't you?
I was on I was on a bit of a tirade.
You sit on the toilet, don't you? Use that as your meditation.
It does.
Well, people think that it's got to be this, sitting on a yoga mat with like the sound bowls.
Yeah. Just take a moment.
That's
just pause, right? Pause for a moment. I have to do it every morning.
Yeah.
If I don't have an opportunity to do it, I make the opportunity, right? I gotta have it. Just give me a moment, right? Because our days, our times, we are busy. And if you don't take just a moment before you start that, the day for me, right? For me, if I don't take that time to talk to him and to talk through my day and just think about my day and think for everything. What did Madeline say? She starts the day with allow me and ends the day with a thank you or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you start with that, right? And I have to start that. And it's just that, I mean, so that was my tirade.
Good.
You sit on the fucking shitter, don't you?
Yeah.
Hi, Rob.
What's up, kid?
Hey, we won last damn it. We didn't even talk about that.
The kids?
Our 3rd and 4th graders are just kicking ass.
Yeah. And you
What?
held your
We're gonna talk about
mud
it again.
together, and I didn't have to whoop that coach's butt, which was awesome.
Yeah, but this is playing like a whole week later. So you never know. By this time, when this one airs, maybe I would have whooped his ass by now.
Would you have let him, or what would have happened? Did you already play that out? Would you have let him whoop his ass? Or
No, I would have.
Yeah.
It'd have been done.
Yeah, no.
It'd have been over fast.
Yeah, right.
And then I'm the assistant coach, so he's got a coach. He's got the players. I get kicked out. I'm the one that handles the business. I'll get kicked
And
out.
it's his church that's putting it on, so he'd have to go back into the church on Sunday.
They know me.
They know he's a hothead.
Do you get in a lot of fights at church, Rob?
No, I don't get. I haven't gotten fights. That's what the jujitsu mat's for. That's what wrestling practice
Got
is
it.
for.
That's where he gets his anger out.
I don't get in fights anymore.
So, hey, we got the Cat back. I wanted to. So, you recently had an amends that you did, Rob, after 15 years.
Yes.
You got to do an amends. And when I was listening to Cat, when you were on the Hopeaholics, I was listening to your podcast.
Yeah.
I just to get to know you a little bit better. And you were talking about amends that you did. I'm like, that's a lot like what Rob just did. And when we were finished up with Jason on the first podcast, when we were on the Monday night, Jason was like, shit, we forgot to talk about Rob's amends. So I want you to bring it up.
Well, I'd
Go
rather
ahead.
Kat to start hers first, because
Right.
when you did that, you talked about, when you got divorced, that it wasn't on the Soberholics.
Yeah.
It wasn't God's will for your divorce.
Yeah.
But it happened. And then you got to make amends to that man. And how did that go?
Yeah. So we were married, I think, like 4 years. So from like 20 to 24. And then from about 24 to 31, I spent just running hard. We didn't have any contact. I got sober at 31. And then it was about 2 years into my sobriety that my sponsor felt like it was an appropriate time to make at least an attempt to reach out to him for that amends. That was one of my biggest amends. When we make our list of people that we've harmed, we have them like in columns of like, yes, I'm willing to forgive them. Can I forgive myself? And then there's this like, yeah, I can make an amends to them. Don't really want to, but I will. And then the hell no, never, I can't face that person ever again. And he was on the hell no, I can't face that person ever again column. But I had gotten through all the other ones. And so it was time to really start attacking. And he was like my big one. And so I reached out to him. And surprisingly, it was like via like LinkedIn or some like weird way. And he responded fairly quickly. And I just said, hey, I need 5 minutes if you're willing to take a call. And I left him my number, and he called me not too long. It was like maybe a day or two. And I was like shocked, because I like heard his voice. I mean, this was a man that I was in love with just madly when I was 18, 19. We got married. I mean, I adored him in spite of my behavior.
He showed you the Lord.
Yeah.
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 Showed you what it really looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just Jesus's love
Right.
and Christ-like marriage, truly. So I said, hey, I said, I don't know. And thank God my sponsor and I like recited it, because I just said, what do I say, if he calls? And she said, well, ask him if he'd be willing to meet you face to face. And I said, okay. I said, hey, I'm trying to, and she said, never bring up the alcohol. She's like, I don't want him to know that this is as a result of Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't want him to know that. She's like, this is because you're cleaning up the wreckage of your past. We don't blame anything on alcohol. So I just said to him, hey, I'm cleaning up some wreckage of my past, and I would really appreciate if you could meet me face to face for 5 minutes. And I was begging in my inside, I'm like, please say no, please say no, please say no. But he said, let me call my wife. And I was like, oh. okay, so like at least I know he moved on. Like I didn't ruin his life that much, right? Because I think
You're
I'm
not
such
all
a
that.
big deal,
Right.
right. And he called me back and he said, I talked to my wife and yeah, I could meet with you. I said, okay, cool. When? Because I'm also told that we need to do it on their terms, right? We've been so selfish that it's time for them to be able to dictate when we come into their life.
Right.
And so he said, I don't know, this week I'm free like Thursday. I was like, great. So we set a time. I booked a flight, flew from California to Denver. I rented a car. I drove 2.5 hours. He still lived in that mountain town. And we sat outside of this coffee shop because it was like mud season, so it was actually closed. And we sat on the stairs, and you know, I told him how sorry I was, how much I regretted my behavior. I said, you know, I never meant to hurt you, and I know that I did, and I'm here. If there's anything I can do to make it right, I will. And I'm here to amend. And I said, so that could look like a financial, that could, you know, I'm so sorry that I hurt you, and there's nothing I can do to change the past, but I'm here to make it right, whatever I can make right. And, you know, he did, give me, you know, the words that he wanted to say. I gave him an opportunity to tell me how he felt. And, you know, he said, like, you definitely fucked me. Like I left him with 2 mortgages, and, you know, I just ran. And, you know, he said, but ultimately my wife and I have been praying for you and your sobriety. And this is the best thing that you could have done.
Give me chills.
They do.
And so, you know, after that, I like never really like thought about him, or, you know, I left feeling like free. There was another layer of freedom,
Right.
and hopefully he was also given that. And it was probably the hardest thing I've done, one of the hardest things I've done in my sobriety, mostly because there's just so much unresolved, right? I mean, yeah, I was 20 and I was married and I made a lot of really terrible decisions, but that doesn't deny the fact that I was, you know, in love with him, that I cared for him deeply. I was worried, like, am I still going to be in love with him? Like, what if this brings all this stuff up? And, you know, you hear all the time about people going and making an amends to a romantic ex, and then things get rekindled, or like all this stuff. And it's just like, I mean, I had so much guilt and shame, and I drank for years about how I treated this poor man. It was really facing that. And, you know, I'm just so thankful that this process is already figured out for us. Like, they're just like, just do it. Like,
And tested.
yeah, it's like, don't try to analyze what it is or what it's gonna be. Just walk through it, and let's talk about it after. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, action is everything. Action is the key to this entire thing.
Cleansing.
Yeah,
So
truly.
cleansing. It's one of the most amazing parts of my sobriety is when I got my chance to do my amends. You know, I didn't have it. You know, Rob's going to talk about his in a minute, but those, and I tell people this all the time, for me, it was like layers popping off, right? Every time I did another one, and I did mine back to back to back to back to back to back. And I was just not going to stop until
To his
I had
credit,
them done.
Larry, I mean, I'm sure you've had him. He's the best type of sponsor you can get when the willingness, the desire.
Oh, yeah.
Is ready. You don't got to ask him. Man.
Right.
You call him, hey, you got this amount of time to do. Here's your 4-step.
Right.
I'm done.
But
Let's move, because he got that little.
Right.
that serenity, that I'd gotten in, that I felt, right? That's what I was chasing with my alcohol for so long. I wanted that peace in my heart. I wanted that peace. I didn't like that fire, that anger that was in me. I didn't like it. When I felt that peace the first time at Maynard's, I felt it inside of Chris's office, and I felt it and I saw it. And I just was like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but I'm going to get it. Every ounce of it.
More.
I want, it was a drug for me.
For sure.
Because even now when I, you know, just like the argument that we almost came up to, you know, at football game, I literally, it took, you know, and we talked about it last night at the meeting. You know, I hate when I do that. I hate when I get like that, because it's senseless.
Yeah.
It's absolutely senseless to get that worked up. But there's sometimes where we talk about don't pick up that first drink. I don't have a problem with that. I can sit in a bar, people drinking all around me. I go to these conferences that I used to drink at, people drinking old fashions, which is by far my favorite thing ever. Like
Smoked old fashioned.
And I mean, the smell of it, right? It just, the whiskey, and it just everything about it. But I don't need that. What I have problem with is the slide of tongue, that first slide of tongue. If I can stop it to begin with, I'm okay. I'm okay. If I don't stop it, I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
And I don't stop until I hurt somebody. And I don't like that, right? Because I don't feel justified unless somebody's hurt, and I don't like that. And that's just, I don't want that. When I felt that serenity and that peace coming into my life, I wanted more of it. And the more amends I did, the better it felt. Now that's when what Rob says about eating shit hot, eating your sandwich hot.
Eat your crow hot.
I do it. I do it every chance.
Still tastes
I
bad,
get.
but it tastes better hot.
And I can't do it any other way. I can't do it any other way.
Right.
I mean, and that you guys, I mean, Rob, when he talked to me about going to do his, I was like, I couldn't even imagine waiting 15 years to do that. And I was excited for you to do it. So talk about yours.
Well, it was a few weeks ago. I knew it was coming to and our breakup wasn't like Kat's. It was, we just parted ways kind of. And, when my parents died, my dad died in 2000. She was there. And then my mother died in 2005 in a car wreck. She was there. I actually had both kids.
Your ex-wife.
Yeah. Logan, because they loved her. She loved them. It was, and she got to hold my son, my youngest. Her and I were talking, and I go, here, hold him. I got to go over here. She goes, let me guess, his name's Logan. I said, yep. Because I told her that's, but,
Right.
But, so when I got sober, she would remarry to Jim. I just met Jim how it all happened. My mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, Brenda Arlene just passed. So, and my current mother-in-law, those two worked together at Dr. Burroughs' office for years. They were great, great friends. My current mother-in-law co-signed for my wife's first car. There was that relationship. So I knew I was going, because I'm going to pay respects to my mother-in-law. I tried to make amends to my ex-mother-in-law. She didn't want anything to do with it years later, which I made my attempt. So I went to the funeral, took my mother-in-law with me, current mother-in-law, and it was a small venue here at Burwood, really good. And I knew it was coming, and I had prepared this for years, 15, to be quite honest. So right after the funeral, I gave her a hug. I'd met her husband, met her kids. She's got two beautiful kids, 15 and 20. It goes to Cal Poly. It's awesome. And I've prayed for her since I've been sober every day. And I said, sorry for your loss. And then I got emotional, which I don't normally do. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, babe, I'm sorry for a lot of things. And I go, but now is not the time. She says, now is not the time. So they're having food at the bar at Crooked Spur. She goes, you going to come back and eat? And I was with my mother. I wasn't planning on it because I was going to go back to work. And I said, well, I'm the boss. I want to go eat, which I didn't eat. So we made it back. The caterer was late. And she was frustrated. She says, hey, when he gets here, Rob, you might have to whoop his ass. I said, whatever you need, then maybe that's my amends. Maybe that's what, we try to make amends, because if you run over someone's mailbox, you don't owe them a fucking apology. You owe them a mailbox of equal or greater value, and you do the work.
Right.
That's an amends. So she went to her car to get her wallet, and I walked out, and then God was saying, and everybody knew what I was there to do. So there's old friends and stuff that you see. And I met her at her car. Like, hey, yeah, 5 minutes. She says, absolutely. So we walked to the shade. She goes, can we go in the shade? Because I'm a pale. She's light skinned. Like, I have a type. So we got in the shade on the wall of the bar, and just talked. And I got to, and I'm proud of myself. I never said I was sorry.
Good for you.
I was wrong, selfish and self-centered, immature child. And owned my part. And there's a times where she tried to, I could have done this. And I said, hold on. Let me ask you a question. If I was the man this marriage, should have been, would we have, or if I was the man that I needed to be, would we be having this talk? Honestly, he said, no, probably not. But I wasn't. Because none of us I wasn't the devil. I wasn't an angel. But had I been who I needed to be, we wouldn't have been here. She was ready. She was my anchor. Right. I told her, I was an anchor for you. I was just holding you back. But you were the strongest thing that I had in my life. I couldn't, because I had said some things. The only reason I married her was, and that got back to her. And I did say those things. And she did ask that question. I don't want to be together for 6 years and still be boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay, so I proposed. But the reason I did, because she was the strong, I was not strong. I was selfish, self-centered, immature child. Too proud to go back home, not equipped for the world. She was. you can't go.
Right.
But I didn't know that. I didn't. You get in the rooms and don't process that. I love her. Okay, let's get married. But that's not. For me, it was
Convenience.
self-preservation.
Yeah.
And it was just detrimental to the relationship. So, and I got to say those things. And she had a couple of questions. She wanted one of them was a clarification on a car wreck. and then she realized, oh, babe, you were with me. I let my buddy Butch borrow my Camaro. He got in a wreck. Some drunk had told her a different story. And then she goes, oh, you're right. I was there. Just the weirdest things.
Right.
So when I felt cleansed afterwards, it wasn't the fact that I just got to say what I got to own my shit, which I did, but I got to give her peace on a few topics that she wanted.
Good for
That's
her.
the cleansing.
Yeah. It gave her peace.
Yeah.
Gave her some.
She's an amazing woman. She's got an amazing family. And
Right.
I'm just grateful that I got to own that.
Yeah. Cleansing is what you told me.
Cleansing.
Yeah. He said it was cleansing, and and I think for anybody that's still struggling to get through their steps or to start their steps,
'cause I want
that's
peace for her.
Right.
But God, because when
we have our
when I
peace.
walked up to her and I told her, about, she knows what I was doing.
Yeah.
She knows I've been sober. And she goes, you could have called me. I said, no.
Yeah.
Eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah,
And my
exactly.
sponsor, Jay, you met.
Yeah.
When we had talked about this, he says, because she had gotten remarried. This was not a few years later. This was years later.
Yeah.
This was 11 years later.
Yeah.
He said, it's probably not best because you know how when you get like Larry, I want to go make it right, make it right.
Yeah.
He says, maybe not right now. Show up on her doorstep and, hey, guess what? I found God and I've got religion and I've got AA and as a part of my 9th step, you got to listen. No, God will give you the right time. And this was the right time.
Yeah.
It was because we were not enemies or anything like that, but it was good. I'm just grateful.
Yeah, those amends, and I don't know if you've heard my story, but I had one show up at a restaurant. Me and Rob I was probably about 6 or 7 months sober, and one that I didn't even know I had to do, and it was like, I think you guys call them a store amends, right?
Well, I call it a grocery store.
Grocery
the ones
store
that
amends.
they may not be on your list or not.
Yeah.
You
But you
this
pass them. Yeah. And God's like, hey, go.
I know that. But that's God's. Are you willing?
Right.
Yeah.
Are you still willing?
It was
How free do you want to be?
I didn't know. I'd said this all along that if I ever see that guy, I'm going to punch him in the fucking mouth. I'd said that for years. If I ever see him, I'm going to punch him. And I hadn't seen the guy in probably about 10 years. I hadn't seen the guy in a long time.
Yeah.
And I see his wife walk in and I'm like, no, his son walked in. I'm like, all right. Then I seen his wife walk in. I'm like, okay, he's got to be close. And I saw him come walking across and it was instant.
Yeah.
I walked outside, talked to him, told him, apologize. He gave me a big old hug, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. And like I said, I didn't even know I needed to do it. But I needed to do it. He had no idea what I was doing, but I needed it.
Yep.
He didn't realize that I called him a no good, rotten son of a bitch all those years, right? He didn't. He had no idea, but I did.
Yeah.
Right. And I knew I had to get that out. So, anyways, those are the men. Like I said, but those are the things that I want people to hear, because I think so many people, when they read
it's
that
the 5th
fourth
step that scares them,
right?
and it's the 9th step that scares them.
Right,
big time.
right. And that's the one where you got to go own your shit, right? And
That's when the sponsor lets you go out into the world for the first time, and
Into the wild.
right into the wild. Doing our inventories is, that's bad enough, but when you got to go talk to somebody about it, that's a little bit.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
telling a man my chicken died is not as hard as going to making amends to that chicken.
Right.
You're an idiot.
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because you both have that very important.
But another thing on that, because you shared it, and I mean, it's only been 3 weeks for me. And it's not that my ex-wife was in my dreams all the time, but she was always there, in the periphery.
Yeah.
And now she's not.
Go.
Yeah.
Just like you said about your husband, he's not in your
Yeah.
God's little, or is it God or is it us or both?
Yeah.
Our spirit. These little.
What do you mean?
That had that little thing, that little reminder.
I think it's us. I think
it's both.
Yeah, it's probably both, but I think we replay that tape in our head.
Or there's something that's
two
unfinished.
things. It's unfinished is what I think it is, because I'll replay things in my head. Like we just had, has nothing to do with alcohol, but it has a lot to do with the same thing. There was just a tanker truck that rolled over on 17, right? And the minute I see that tanker truck upside down, I go back to all the times I come off of Cajon Pass, or I come off of the Donner Pass. Or I come off the grapevine with my hair on fire with a load of race gas on, you know, doing 95 coming off the grapevine and just trying to get home to my wife and family. And here's this poor old bird going up the hill at 72 years old, 33 miles an hour. And he rolls up on, and it was a freak accident that rolls him upside down. You know, but so I replayed all that stuff in my head and thinking, you know, so I think a lot of that is me because of, and a lot of it's God reminding me, you're blessed to be here.
Yeah.
But it's also reminding me of this shit that I don't do. And I definitely believe that they continue to bring people around in our lives. I think we do that out of guilt. Sometimes we do it. I know I do it out of guilt sometimes because there's something I have that's unfinished. But then again, like you said, that could be God just continually bring that up to us because there's something unfinished. But I know this for a fact. The minute I got all my amends done and the minute I approach those things that I know that I need to finish, my anxiety is gone in that situation.
Kat, talk to me about God's will.
Huh? Why are you looking at me and calling me Kat?
Well,
Well, this is something we've had this because you said it in the last, God's will. It was not God's will for you to get divorced.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
yeah.
Not.
I mean, he gives us free will. He doesn't want robots. He wants us to
Right.
choose him.
But how many people in this, usually people in early sobriety, you know who I'm talking about. Not just, but it's not just him. You know, when something good or bad happens, or because they've caused it, well, it must not have been God's will for me to have that because it's gone. No.
Yeah, I mean,
drives me nuts.
it like I said, you know, it's one thing to know God and it's one thing to walk with God, and obedience is, I think the key to, I mean, really happiness. Like on the other side of obedience is peace. When I finally surrendered,
highlight that in your book. If you don't mind.
when I finally surrendered to God, and then he called me to this lifestyle of things I needed to do to stay abstinent from drugs and alcohol, you know, it's through my obedience that I'm just given this life of peace. And people think that it's a punishment. And it's like, these are guardrails.
Yes.
Like he does, like I have a God, I don't know about you, but he loves me so much. He only wants the best for me. He literally has already gone before me and has the most incredible life like waiting for me. And all I have to do is just like keep my eyes on him and follow a simple set of rules. But you know, where it gets messy is when I try to interject and take shortcuts, right? And like, but God, that doesn't really look like the right way, so I'm going to try this way, right? Yeah. And you know, it's always, to me, the answer is always obedience. Going back, you know, and looking at, I mean, not just what the Bible says, but what does the Big Book say? Because I have two instruction manuals. It's the Bible and the Big Book of Alcoholics
And I've never
Anonymous.
seen one contradict the other.
Same. So, you know, I love, you know, the fact like God's will to me is, it just flows. I always know when I'm not in God's will, when I'm having to manage, manipulate, or force.
Struggle.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, okay, hold on, take a breath. Because I don't ever have to question when things just happen naturally. Me just meeting you guys naturally, you know, it just flows, right?
It wasn't the fact that I stalked you.
But you didn't even see those.
I didn't even see them. So, you know, it and it came, you know, organically when it needed to come. Right. Like this time, whenever you sent me, you know, in 2025, we said I stepped down as CEO. And I've really spent the past 8 months traveling and doing about a podcast or two a week. So I don't know if I would have been open to coming to Modesto, California when you...
Hey, we're in Waterford, California, damn it. This is my town.
I don't know. Where you hook up with your sister?
Damn it.
Auntie, mom, and uncle, dad.
Damn it.
Where the men are men and the sheep are nervous.
You know, what's
Waterford.
fun? I tell people this. One of the good things to how we follow God is if I always travel with Google Maps on my phone, in my truck.
Yeah,
always.
I heard you say this on a podcast. I
Always
love it.
when I go somewhere, I always do because it gives me a time. I'm always on time, blah, blah, blah. And if I'm going somewhere that I know I'm going, but it's trying to take me a different way, I'm like, no, I'm going to go this way, right? I know this way's faster.
Yeah.
Sure as shit, there's an accident or road construction or there's something that it was trying to get me around, right? Because I thought I knew better than the damn Google or the millions and millions and millions of dollars that's along the freeway to give us information to get us in a better route, right?
Yeah. Right.
And it's the same way with God, right? We're going to go we're going to go the best way it seems fit. It may not be the way we want to go, but it's going to get us there,
Well,
right?
and
it's going to get us there on their time,
but
not our
there's
time.
maturity as well, spiritual
Right.
maturity. Because at first, God needed a 2x4 to get my head to turn.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
and when I'm right with Him, when I'm like surrendered, it's a gentle breeze.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just flowing.
It's easy. We
It's not,
ceased
like
fighting.
Kat said, it's not a fight.
We ceased fighting.
We've surrendered. I've relinquished authority.
Yeah, we ceased fighting, right? We let Him, give it all to Him, and He shows us the way. So, hey, Kat, tell us about you. Tell us what you got going.
Sure.
Because this is probably one of the most interesting things about you, I think. It really is.
Wait, that I own treatment centers?
Yes,
or? Okay,
everything that you got. I mean, how you have time to come to Waterford, not Modesto, Waterford, and to do this is amazing for me.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was about 2 years sober and was still working at that corporate company and was really unfulfilled. I found a lot of my joy in working with other women, alcoholics, and just waking up every day and having this feeling of, is this again?
Right.
And that felt all too familiar for me. And so, I kind of went on this like conquest and like just seeking, like purpose. And everyone just kept saying, like, do what you love and the money will follow.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, all right. Well, I love working with addicts and alcoholics. I have no idea how to make money doing that. And I had a mentor at the time, and he said, why don't you open a rehab? And I said, that's crazy. I didn't even go to rehab. What? Like, that's insane.
That's where losers go.
Right. And he said, well, why don't you go work in a rehab and see how it works? And I was like, okay. So, I had quit my corporate job. I had, some savings, and I had some side money coming in through different like e-commerce website, like skincare stuff, whatever. And I went and worked in a rehab for $17 an hour, and I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my gosh, this is
Freedom.
so fun.
I love it.
I love
Fulfilling.
everybody this. And I was like, I could do this better, like a good entrepreneur.
Right.
And, I met a guy in AA, and he and I shared the same passion. And, we opened our own facility about 6 months later.
Wow.
And it's called Laguna Shores Behavioral Health. And we just rented a 2,500 square foot house in Mission Viejo, California. And we had a consultant help us set everything up. And, before we know it, October 2018, we were rocking and rolling, had our first house. And
is there a lot of red tapes in that, or was that
no? California is actually pretty easy.
Is it?
When it comes to substance abuse. I mean, again, this was like 6 years ago, so a little bit different. Almost 7. Wow. But it's really more, and that's why there are so many facilities out here in California, because we have this thing called residential inpatient, which means that you can actually have a hospital setting in a house, right? So people can either go and get sober and detox in a hospital setting, and they can have doctors and nurses wait on them. But the likelihood of somebody staying there for 30 days when they're in a hospital bed, and there's this, people don't love to be in hospitals, right? No. And so, our goal is really the longer that you spend with us and the more time that you can be supervised in early sobriety, the better chances you are of continuing sobriety, right? Yeah. And so, we offer a much more comfortable setting where you can have a private room, or you're sharing a room, and there's queen size beds, and there's the maximum of 6 people per house, and then 24-hour staff that, will give you your meds. We have doctors, we have nurses, but we also take them to AA meetings every night.
Wow.
We are, big on, I tell people, like, if you think that this is going to keep you sober, don't unpack.
Right.
Like this, this is literally to stop the bleeding.
Right.
We want to stabilize you.
Yes.
Say that again.
Yes.
If you don't,
if you think that treatment or rehab is going to keep you sober, don't unpack.
I love that.
right? This is about stopping the bleeding. Our goal, and that's, people ask me like, well, what's your success rate? I'm like, my success rate of people staying sober from 0 to 30 is fairly high. I mean, they're supervised.
Right.
That being said,
Right.
sometimes, things happen where they're able to get things inside
Right.
themselves that we can't, necessarily.
We can't unpack that.
Yeah. But,
Shut up, Rob.
that's like it's like when they're talking about success of rehab, it's all about, what metrics are you looking at, right? Yeah. Like the goal is truly to stabilize. And if you go to a good place, they're introducing you to a lifestyle, which is, Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, whatever the 12 steps is, because that's something that we will work, forever.
This is the start of their foundation, hopefully.
Truly, yeah. And so that's why I love being part of it, because it's like the trajectory. People can go to a super shitty rehab, think that this whole thing is about, going to rehab, staying sober, and then you leave, you have no tools, you're dry. You might have done some work in therapy and relapse prevention, and, not that doesn't help, but, for me, the best gift that we can give our clients is the foundation and then an entry into Alcoholics Anonymous.
How many houses do you have now?
We have 3, and then we have one, October of last year, so almost a year ago, we opened our first primary mental health. So all of our facilities are dual diagnosis. We're seeing a huge uptick in people needing to actually take 30-day, like a time to assess mental health. So it's like rehab, but for your mental health. So you could be struggling with anxiety, depression.
Wow.
Also, you have maybe like bipolar, PTSD,
Right.
maybe you just have some serious trauma. And a lot of times, if you're depending on the type of trauma that you have, you could have pushed it down, and you just don't want to deal with it. And then something happens, right? Somebody dies, you have a divorce, you get in a car accident, something happens,
Something
and it brings it
up,
all to the, and you, like, there are
surface.
nervous breakdowns.
Right.
A lot of our clients come in, looking like their life was being managed fairly well. And then out of nowhere,
Crisis
all
happens.
of this stuff. Yeah. I mean, similar to, substance abuse. So, what's interesting is that insurance companies are much more lenient for mental health, and they're giving us a lot more authorized time, because they see that, mental health can't really be fixed in 30 days. They're, people going to rehab has been around since like 70s, 80s, and they're a little sick of it, to be honest.
Insurance companies.
Yeah. Insurance companies are like, okay, we've heard this before.
Right.
Like to get 30 days in substance abuse is actually pretty good now. But it's not uncommon for them to kick you out at 21 days, for insurance to be like, hey, it's time for you to drop down. We want you to go to sober living.
Is that why a lot of them are 28 days?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. It's 4 weeks technically, but really it's just, the insurance companies is who pays us.
Right.
So it's however long. And so that's why it's so important that you have, professionals that are doing the documentation. We do something that I think everybody needs to do. It's called Gene Sight, where you swab the inside of our client's cheek. And then you get, after 72 hours, a printout of all the meds in the medical dictionary that work with your DNA.
Wow.
And so a lot of times, medication management is a big portion of, hey, am I an alcoholic and addict because I'm depressed, or am I depressed because, it's hard to like kind of untangle everything.
Right.
And so this gives us some data as to how we can actually, when we are looking at your psych meds, or maybe you've been on antidepressants, they're not working. I actually personally switched mine. Depression runs in both sides of my family my entire life. I've tried to not take meds. I've tried to do it holistically. I've tried to run it out. It just, unfortunately, and I don't.
Crippled 2 dogs.
Right. I do not think that having a pill fixes things, but it's definitely, some of us are chemically imbalanced.
Yep.
I really believe that. And so it prints out a report for you of green meds that work well for you. And it's not just antidepressants, anti-anxiety, it's sleep meds, it's pain meds, it's ADHD meds, it's everything. And then yellow is like, hey, it's probably not effective, but you can try it. And then red is, this will actually have an adverse effect. And I took something in college called Effexor, and it was in my red. And I remember taking it in college and being suicidal. It actually made me worse. So I personally believe in this. And then we couple this with something called brain mapping, where we put electrodes on.
Yeah.
And we,
Jim did that.
Yeah, Jim just talked about that.
Yeah.
What is that?
So basically, it's everybody does it a little bit differently, but you can actually see, it's two tests. So one is with your eyes shut and the other one is with your eyes open. And they ask you a series of questions and they can see what part of your brain lights up and is triggered. And you can actually see where like depression is held or PTSD or ADHD. And so they can tell based on the activity in your brain from what's going on in the electrodes, what is actually like the cause of, like, oh, you don't actually have depression, you have severe trauma. Or PTSD, right? And so that gives us information that we can actually go to insurance companies to say, hey, we need to switch this person's medication. Here's why, is we found out that they aren't depressed, but they actually have severe trauma. And we need 3 more weeks with them, right? And sometimes what we do is we transfer them over to our mental health facility, if that's the case, because we can get authorization. But, there's a lot of people that go to places and they just give them a party pack of meds,
Right.
No,
They're like, here you go.
For sure.
And they leave not having any more information about themselves and feeling like, I feel like a zombie on these meds. And it's like, no wonder, right? Like
And I was better off drinking them.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's when Alex and I created our facilities, our heart, because we got together, he had 9 months sober and I had a year and a half. And for his 1 year, we went to Vegas. Like we loved going to sporting events. We loved doing fun things sober. And he and I just had this heart, like, let's create a place where they have so much fun and they have community and they feel a part of something that
Sober's
they
fun.
they don't want to leave. Right. And they're like, dude, this place is dope. And we took it kind of far. I mean, it was just he and I. We got front row seats to the Clippers. We just did a bunch of fun stuff that we wanted to do. We go to Six Flags all the time, and like we're kind of big kids, and so we just had so much fun. We do game nights when we have Thanksgiving. Everybody knows clients can always come back. But
You use your horses too.
yeah, now we do. I just started doing the horses about a year ago. I would like on special occasions because it's not like equine therapy. There's 500 horses there, and it's like a super fancy jumping arena.
Okay.
But I started to get super involved with my friend who rescues these old race horses, and I donate, and I'm like there 4 times a week, and I'm just like, do you think I could bring a client or 2 down? She's like, for sure. And then we actually just made it like a thing, where now we're like scheduling groups, because my biggest thing, and this has happened a few times, where I bring clients down and these like super fancy, ladies look at my clients with neck tats or, and they're like, who are you? And I'll just step right in front of them and I'm like, don't worry about it.
Right.
And then it broke my heart. We got in the van after, this one lady was like, well, I just want to know what group this is. I was like, it's my group. I'm a friend of Sarah.
Right.
And the guys, we get in the van and the guys go, we don't belong here, do we? And I was like, no, you do. You actually belong here more than that woman.
Damn
does.
right they do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
I think God would have been okay if you'd have punched that lady.
I'm not a puncher. I know I've noticed
She's Bonnie, huh?
I've noticed a trend here. I used to do like kickboxing and stuff. And I mean, to me, it's just not worth it. Like I totally believe.
Oh, you missed the joy then.
No, my joy is I'll just buy her horse right out from under her. How about that?
Yours is the better way.
Yeah.
Yours is the better way.
Yeah. And you know what
That is true.
I do believe that every single one of those men watched me and how I handled that
For sure.
situation.
Absolutely.
And,
Right.
I just,
I'm a child too.
it's all right. We all are. Some are sicker than others. Trust me, I have major other defects. They just don't come out,
Physically.
in those environments. So, it's been really amazing to see this. A group of us got together and opened a 40-bed facility in Wisconsin.
Why Wisconsin?
Lack of resources for sure.
Okay.
And then it's centrally located, plus buying a piece of land, and assisted living, which allows us for that large of a facility is way more cost effective there than here.
Yeah.
It's not come without challenges though. They've been very, vocal about not wanting us there, feeling like we're going to just bring in busloads of addicts and needles. And, I get it. I totally do. It's not,
Is it in a residential area?
Well, it's in a neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah. But they've never seen anything like us. Right. So it's like, just explaining to them that we're servicing, not just like it's the population. They're already drinking and
they're already here.
Yeah.
We're trying to help them.
Yeah. So, it's the goal is, I think, to just continue to develop out of state programs because we have incredible recovery here in Southern California.
Yes.
And it's not just because it's amazing to have this beach and this view and the weather here is incredible, but truly people are enthusiastic about being sober here. And I've traveled all over the world. I've gone, to probably 15 different countries and gone to AA meetings there. And sometimes you leave wanting to go to the bar. It's like, I wouldn't want to go back to that.
Kidding.
People are upset. They get in there. They think that this is a dump of problems.
It's a bitch session.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're
we
carrying,
want to hear solution.
Right. They're carrying the message, not the message. And
The mess.
They're carrying the
I'm
mess.
sorry, the mess, not the message. And that's the problem is that,
My wife must have just walked in.
that's okay. That's all right. That, people think that that's what recovery is. And I wouldn't want to come back. And so, one of the best things that we can do is the challenge is so many people want to stay here after they get to California. They're like, oh my gosh, this is a dream. Right. It's like, God needs you to take this that you're learning.
Just like
Somewhere.
the big
Exactly.
book.
Exactly.
Just like the early, Akron, Ohio.
Right.
Go out.
Go.
Yeah.
Your book. Talk about your book.
Yes. Yeah.
So Laguna Shores is the name of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you had an orange. Sorry.
Laguna Shores is the name of like our kind of umbrella. Everybody knows this as Laguna Shores, and it's in Dana Point, California. We have another place called Orange County Detox.
That's what I was going to ask about.
It's just right up the street. Again, 6-bed detox residential, and then we have another 6-bed residential that's called Laguna Shores Mental Health. And that is, again, similar setting, just really people come there either after they've detoxed or they don't have any substance abuse history.
And you just work on the mental health there. That's when you do the brain mapping and.
Well, we do actually brain mapping at all of our facilities.
Okay.
But mental health is really people come in and they focus on mental health. So that could be stress management. That could be, meeting. We very much talk about meeting with the therapist when you're in, substance abuse treatment. But it's just a little bit more prevalent when we're doing mental health.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about, medication management. If you're struggling with your mental health, there might be, even if it's a traumatic, I know we've had people that had witnessed a murder of their son.
Oh, wow.
And, they had, and he literally came to our facility the next day. And so these are there are traumatic things that happen. And so really we're just trying to find, a stable environment. We do groups. They also, do the horses. We go to the gym. I believe that, you have
natural
if you wanna,
endorphins.
Exactly. And if you want to change your mental state, you got to change your physical state.
Absolutely.
You cannot.
You'll never think your way into better action, but you can act your way into some better thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Get busy.
Yeah.
Get busy.
And I don't even care what it is. Walk around the block, just do something to move your body.
Change your latitude.
I've got a red kettlebell.
Yeah.
Well, I got a bunch of them, but this is my special one. Whenever I can't get something out of my head, I won't give it to God, or I keep taking it back. I'll go swinging that thing until I can't breathe. And then whatever it was, going.
Yeah.
Your book. Talk about your book.
Yeah. What the journal or the book I'm writing?
The book you're writing.
Okay. So there are two. One I just co-authored with another woman who's in recovery in Dallas, and she is like a coach in helping flip and fix and flip houses. And she was like, "Man, there's such a like parallel between starting your life and fixing and flipping a house, right? Like really
Very true.
rehabbing, gutting, bringing it back down to the foundation." And so she wanted to get a group of like 10 other entrepreneur women who have taken their pain and turned it into purpose.
That's awesome.
And the title is called She Nailed It.
Awesome.
And then Turning Pain into Purpose. And each of us contributed a chapter. And some of these women many of them don't have substance abuse, but they have, physical abuse or trauma, or they've, escaped a country and now they're architects. They're, doing incredible things with their life. So that was an honor to be a part of that. And
that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is either one of those out yet, or they're
Not
still
yet.
in the
What's the
process?
second one?
Not
What's the
yet.
one you're doing?
So I am doing, my mentor has convinced me to do my own book, and I have, it will be released on November 1st, which is my 10-year anniversary. Yeah.
Sobriety date.
Yep. And that was such a God thing. I'm working with a publishing company, and they give me a 90-day roadway to get it done.
Okay.
Wow.
I know.
Crack down.
It is, and I need that, or else I'll never do it. So 90 days, and we started working together, and I was like, wow, that's the last week of October, which means that would be a November 1st release date. They're like, yeah.
Is that odd or
I
God?
was like, yeah, right. And really that is, me talking about,
Does it have a title?
not yet.
Not
We're
yet.
working on it.
It's a working title.
Yeah.
Well, you
God
come
will
up with
give
like,
it. Yeah.
you'll send it out to us.
Of course. Yeah.
Just me though, not you, Rob.
I know. That's all right. He'll share.
I'll pass it on to you.
But I think one thing that the other thing I'm most excited about was, last November, I was just having all these people reach out to me on social media about getting sober. And I just kept saying, I said, do what I did. I went to AA. I found somebody locally. I said, how did you do it? And then they just told me what to do. Right. I was like, proximity is power.
Yes.
So get around somebody physically who's sober and do what they do. Mm-hmm. And like, they just kept saying, you're the only person I know that's sober. And I was like,
wow,
that's insane.
Sad.
Yeah, very sad. And a lot of these people, the UK has a tremendous problem. Australia, India, Africa, just people are consistently saying how do I do it? How do I do it? And I'm like, you don't have a local AA meeting? And they're like, no, I've never even heard of that. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, there's gotta be like a place these guys can go and talk and ask questions and get international recovery. And there just wasn't. And God was like, you need to build it. And I was like, I didn't hear that. I don't want I do not need another project. I don't want to do this. And he said, if not you, then who? I was like, okay. I guess we're doing fine. Okay. I don't
whatever, God.
And I was like, this probably isn't even going to work.
Child.
Yeah. And I had another female entrepreneur that she builds communities like these for a living. And I paid her to help me sketch it out. And, we use something called the Circle app, which is a community app, and essentially just build it. And I wanted it to be available for people before Thanksgiving of last year so that they could go somewhere to, if they're sitting at Thanksgiving, they're like, I'm triggered. I want, to give 24-hour support. And, there are, the first day I opened it was November 21st of 2024. And there was 10 people that signed up that day. And then, I check it every morning, and there's 949 people in it today. Yeah.
That's the one I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's
that's
pretty
God.
cool.
That's the hand.
I know.
Right.
I know. And the numbers is one thing. There's still a lot of people that come in there that are still feeling so much guilt and shame, and they're just, kind of trolling, which is fine.
Right.
But there's people that are like, hey, I have 116 days today and I wouldn't be able to do it without this community.
Right.
Like every single day I know that I have you. And I mean, who am I to say how you can get sober? Like that wasn't, my my experience, but God clearly saw a need. And, again, that's obedience, right? Like, but we can't be obedient if we can't hear him.
Yep.
And so, like, for me, I have to daily be doing things to make
Right.
sure that I hear him.
Right.
And it's like, okay, like, I guess I did hear that correctly. Sometimes I
What's
ask
the
him to
name of
tell
that?
me. That's called Chains to Change.
Yeah.
And I also have a website called sobercat.com, SOBERKATT.com. And you can find all my podcasts. Sobrietyjournal.com. I created a sobriety journal.
Kat brought us one. I love this thing. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's helped me. I mean, what's crazy is I take a picture of when I write in it, and I list my daily non-negotiables. What am I doing today to stay sober? Who am I helping? I take a picture of it and I post it in the community, right? Every morning.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability.
And then at night, I go back because the next step is, it's called evaluate my daily non-negotiables. How did I do? So I'll take a picture of me filling out the bottom. And unfortunately, alcoholics are undisciplined. And so this helps me to stay disciplined. And I'm just like, I don't care if I'm the only person, but there's like a group of us that have been doing it consistently for 8 months, and it's just skyrocket. So
Page 164, by the way, where it tells us we're undisciplined.
You're undisciplined.
I think page 86 says it as well.
Does it?
80.
Tell him, Kat. Don't let him
I don't
get
think
him. Get him, Kat. Get him.
We're undisciplined, so we ask God to
That's
discipline
page
us.
164.
No,
In this way. Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it's an up on
Here we go.
awakening.
She might be right.
Haha.
You know how you can tell if somebody's life is not falling apart when
Their book is falling apart.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start ripping pages out of mine so I can look like his, just like sections. This stupid pamphlets he got tattooed together over there.
I don't think it's there. I
No,
think
I think you're right.
yeah. Go to 86.
No, wait, 86. 86, 87 is my favorite page. If it's there, I'm going to kick my own ass.
You probably should. That would be fun to watch.
It's at the end of On Awakening, where it says we alcoholics are undisciplined.
So we let God
must-
discipline us in this way. It's
Yeah.
I think it's 88.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It
88.
is.
You're
It
right.
is
It's
88.
88.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys feel better now that you figured that out?
Yeah. Not much better.
We got to get Kat on the road.
I do.
You
I
got a
have
flight.
to catch a
Yes.
flight.
Okay.
She has got to go.
I know.
Kat, you're amazing.
Thank you.
I can't even begin to thank you. But Rob and I we've been excited to have you here.
This was so fun.
This was a joy.
Got to splurge on some Mexican food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
That was
We
really
did.
good.
We did. We had some great conversation last night, but we got to get you on the road.
Okay.
I'm sure Mary's going to want to take some pictures, but let's
Okay.
get you out of here.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Oops.
Get that shit.
Not my wife.
Oh, that's annoying, but do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week, and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in. Take
This has
care.
been Recovery